to clean the KUAM News Zoom room. And we're bringing on Jill here, who messaged us on our KUAM News Facebook. And I just want to go ahead and read this message out before we bring him on. And coming up, our KUAM News Decision 2020 candidate interview is just minutes away. Thank you for taking time to read my story. My sister, Jamie Ellis, died suddenly on Wednesday at GRMC. A sudden illness hit her. Her COVID test came back negative. She leaves behind her husband, Preston, 3 young children. They're Guam residents. The kids attend preschool at St. John's. The remaining 2 sisters, my parents and I flew to Guam to help Preston with memorial arrangements and to care for the children. Our request for an expedited or alternative quarantine has been denied. As of now, it looks like we'll be released from quarantine on Thursday, the day our flight returns to the States, and we won't be able to see and help Preston with the kids. We're hopeful that our story will be heard and we find help gaining exception from quarantine at this time. And so we'll bring on Jill. And Jill, are those your daughters with you?
No, these are my beautiful sisters.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Good morning, first of all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you just walk us through the process? So you applied for that exemption, right? What did that entail, and who did you talk to, and when did you find out that you were denied?
Yeah, so we found the heartbreaking news about our sister on Wednesday afternoon. She had passed away Wednesday evening Guam time. And within minutes, we booked our flights to Guam so we could be here to help out with the children and her husband and plans. And we knew that there was going to be a quarantine requirement with COVID restrictions. However, our brother-in-law works for government, and we were directed on applying for an exemption to not quarantine at the government facility, but rather at a residence. And so we applied for that exception to quarantine at our sister and brother-in-law's home. When we arrived at the airport on Friday evening, Guam time, we were met with co-workers of our brother-in-law who had said the governor sends her condolences, and they're working with the Department of Public Health director to expedite our request and administer COVID tests and allow us to go be with my sister's children and her husband. So we were just waiting for our COVID test, and about 48 hours into our stay here, we received word that our request had been denied, and that we would need to stay in the government quarantine facility for the 6 days, which unfortunately that day 6 is our anticipated return back to the States, when we hope to take our sister's children back with us.
What's it like to be held in quarantine at this time when your family needs you so desperately?
Yeah, I mean, if you want the definition of heart-wrenching, that's it. To be so close but unable to be there physically with them, and our sister is always going to be their mother. We're their aunts. And we want to offer what we can as aunts to love and support them, and just as our sister would have.
Were you given a reason why your request was denied? And if so, what was that reason?
Yeah, the reason they told us was that it was denied because there's no planned memorial for our sister here on Guam. So that qualified them to deny our request.
And the specific request we had was because of the hardship. And so the denial was that the hardship was denied because there's no memorial.
And you guys had your COVID test when you came in?
No.
Still waiting for a COVID test. When we landed, we were told that it would probably happen the next morning, which was Saturday morning. And we're still waiting.
Where did you guys arrive from?
I originated from Arizona and they came from Utah. And then we flew through Tokyo.
Did it say
We're all healthy. Yeah, sorry.
when you applied for the hardship? Did it say that there had to be a memorial planned? I'm just
No, that wasn't. There was no direction given to us. We took a leap of faith coming out here that there would be some compassion on these unfortunate circumstances. Our sister and her family moved to Guam in June, just this last year. So they've been here about 3 months. They don't have other family on the island. They have been loved by the community here and have support from the new friends that they've created, but they don't have family. And that's why we came to be here to provide that family support.
Just to clarify, when you guys arrived on island, you didn't have a negative COVID-19 test from your originating place?
No, because we got the news Wednesday afternoon, and when shock happens, we left Thursday morning because our priority was to be with our sister's family. We didn't have time to get a COVID test. We understood that we could get one here once we landed. Our father flew here with us, and he had a negative COVID test on Monday because he had a minor surgery earlier in the week. So his exemption was granted, and he was released yesterday. So he's been with us, with our brother-in-law and their children, because he had a negative test prior.
Right. So what were you guys told when you said you were under the impression that when you landed, you'd be able to take a COVID test? So how did that?
When we landed, no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
When we landed, we were met by the coworkers of Preston who work for government, and then
And Homeland Security was aware, and they told us that we would be administered a COVID test the next morning.
Within 12 to 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And we were also told that the results from our COVID test would be expedited to 4 to 6 hours rather than the 24-hour standard minimum time.
Do you plan on what do you plan on doing? I mean, are you just going to wait it out and then go home, or are you going to? I mean, I don't know. You could take it
We're
to court.
reaching out to as many people as we can to try and get a test, and then be granted to quarantine at her home. That would be our wish. However, if it doesn't happen, we'll change our flights and we'll stay on the island days longer and be there for those kids and do what we need to later than we had hoped.
Is there anything you'd like to say? I guess share with the community about your sister and the type of person she was.
I mean, if there's ever a time for compassion and understanding of a situation, it's right now.
It's devastating news to lose a sister
So unexpectedly.
and to have been so far away from her.
And to not be able to be with her children right now. It's just, it's unbearable. So we just plead for some compassion and understanding that we can have the right doors knocked and doors opened, and people, officials will give us a COVID test and expedite those results so we can be out of the government quarantine facility and quarantine at our sister's home.
Well, our condolences.
Yes, we're individuals where we've followed social distancing and wearing face masks through our travels. I feel that there's no threat with us, and we would, like they said, ask to quarantine in a place where we can hold the kids.
Well, our condolences again from the family here at the station, and keep us posted. I mean, your story's gone out. We'll see what happens, and our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Your help. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Take
Jill.
care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
9:10. We'll take a short break. Bree?
No, like she said, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. It is. We need to get someone from public health on to talk about what is the protocol, because we just hear so many different things. I've never heard that you can come into Guam without a COVID test and they're going to test you when you arrive. It just sounds like there's a lot of different.
And the fact that it was denied because they're not having a memorial.
Right. And I think what it is like
that-
if you get a hardship exemption because you're here to attend a funeral, then there's an actual ceremony. I'm just guessing here. There's an actual ceremony that you're going to attend, right? So, I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm saying is like we hear one thing one day, see something different the next. So obviously, and we've had Dr. Ho on to talk about this protocol, and he said that they were going to place a physician on the review board that grants these exemptions. But, I mean, guys, you come into Guam, you got to have that negative COVID test. And we'll get we'll try and get Ho on tomorrow to find out what exactly is once and for all the protocol in black and white. How do you apply for an exemption? What are the exemptions that have been granted? Because there's been some nonsense exemptions granted. And I'm getting kind of tired of these heartbreaking stories of these people who fly into Guam, and it's like, why do they get no response, cold shoulder? I mean, it's really 912. Take a short break, and we're coming back with our KUM News Decision 2020 candidate interviews next on The Link. It's The Breeze 93.9.
Pepsi Guam Bottling.